It was summer, and Mr Foibles had joined his family for their usual holiday by the sea. It was a beautiful, clear, sunny day and easy to be happy. Here he thought he would cycle with the body and recycle the lymph and the blood. Here he would relax the body in the warm sun and the mind in the open space of the sky and the sea. Thus he would be both inwardly and outwardly refreshed. He would enjoy the convivial mood of his fellows and smile, he thought. They would connect in the luxury of leisure and learn to relax and to forgive and trust each other once more. This was indeed to be so. And yet this day, cycling along the seafront as he had done year after year, he found himself in a new space, like a new dimension, as he found himself able to relax his attention more and more, as he had done in his meditation. He relaxed and relaxed until it was as though the world briefly turned into a painting. The overall impression of the scene remained completely intact. This was not like a hallucination. His mind was blissfully calm and cool, completely silent and bright. The mind, having taken a holiday from its habitual perceptions, had silenced all his habitual thought. Never before had he really allowed himself to relax his mind so deeply outside of intensive meditation. He was consciously letting go of his mental grip on the world whilst remaining in the world. What followed was not the creation of the imagination, but the result of a loosening of his usual focus. He was filled with waves of bliss. The scene returned to normal, but his mind did not. His body was his solid ground, and his rhythmical movements floated in the stillness of his mind. He rotated the pedals with a mind tuned in by a lifetime of experience. Their turning was a reminder of the cycles of life and of the particular kind of learning that was associated with such a skill. Stripped of obsessive and analytical thought, his mind was open to this kind of learning throughout his experience, and this learning, normally a background sense, was to the fore, breathing new life into his experience from the inside. He smiled at a passer-by, and they smiled back. Here was another being, he thought. He found his focus naturally sharpening out of love, the overall field of his awareness remaining unaltered. He found himself in a heightened state of awareness. He had nowhere to go, no destination, and his mind was set open. He was unusually receptive. His breathing flowed like the waves on the beach, becoming stronger as he paddled along. He felt at the centre of his world, as though listening deeply. He glanced at the back of his skinny old hands and bowed in his heart to his ageing humanity. On this crowded seafront, there were other beings, other centres recognised and respected. This kept his mind highly attentive. There was consequently both a forward motion and restraint to his movement, which resulted in a humble composure. Thus connected again with the living world and with the other, there was a knowledge of the scene, and yet this remained with the scene and did not dredge memory from within. Neither did the scene enter. It was as though he was saying hello with his smile to the world, and everything was the other. He had vanished into the scene, and now both the scene and his own disappearance were a source of love. He hoped never to exist again. The space into which it seemed as though he had died was sublime. He only wished to learn more of the order of the world and how to obey its needs so as to benefit that world and his fellow man. He felt himself the humble servant of reality. Remembering the painting again, the scene briefly transformed, all the detail disappearing and colours merging as before. Now there was simply shape and colour. The colour was suggestive of emotion and the shapes and forms of order, and these two came together in a new way which united his feelings and his thoughts. Immersing himself in this altered sense of the real seemed to still his feelings from their heated vibration and cause them to glide and open. There was a sense of beauty that passed beyond sensuality into a new kind of thought as the scene was seen to be arising within his empty mind. The order of the scene felt not imposed, but perfect in and of itself. Now he understood why his mind particularly enjoyed simple, brightly coloured shapes as they presented themselves within the scene. The red triangle was an eternal truth, suggestive of a higher order. There was no desire to manipulate these symbols in his mind, but simply to understand. He thus found himself consciously and curiously consenting to this order, and this was a new kind of love. As he finished his ride, he found himself full of fun amongst his holiday companions. He realised that he had found a new set of eyes on the whole world of art. He would appreciate it afresh, he thought. He paused just a moment before he headed for the art shop in town. He would take up painting, he thought. It would remind him of this wonderful day by the sea, and perhaps he could help others to see in a new way and escape the habitual chatter of their minds. Furthermore, if he were able to add something sacred to the scene, some new light and love, or some new understanding, the sense of the sacred may grow in the world. And it would be fun. Perhaps the more abstract and empty, the better, he thought. Lastly, as he regained his composure, he remembered the teachings of the Buddha on sense restraint. This had always seemed an unappealing practice. Now he realised that it could go deeper than he thought, acting as a bridge between virtue and samadhi. And this restraint could be a refuge when Mr Foibles returned to the city.